Hi and welcome to another episode of Degen BJJ with me, Irish Mike, and my co-host
Ken.
Alright Ken, what's going on?
So yeah, here we are, episode 9. Can't believe we've made it this far. Feels like an old habit now.
It does, yeah. Getting right into the stride of it.
Exactly. So I need to start out today on kind of a serious tone, mate. We've had our journalistic integrity called into question, so we need to set the record straight. Set the record straight. That's a good start.
Who was making the accusations or?
So Steve, aka Fireman Steve, came up in one of the warm-ups. It must have been a week or two ago. Last time I saw him, and he was like, "Appreciate the shout out on the podcast. You completely butchered everything, all the achievements that I'd done." So that when we were saying about the different things he'd done, so he appreciated the shout out. But I wanted to set the record straight and make some amendments or additions to things that we've previously claimed that have come through in the comments. So let's start with Steve. So. Right, the actual facts were in January he ran 5 miles a day for the entire month. In February he swam a mile a day for the entire month. In March he did 10k a day on the rower every day. And in between that he was competing. He competed with us at Europeans at the end of March. He got up at 3 a.m. to drive to Wales to run a marathon to be back home.
He's
in
mental,
time
like,
for lunch.
His problems.
Yeah, and this weekend he'll be running a full marathon in the mountains at I think 4,500 feet with a 35-pound Bergen on his back. So
don't come back and criticise about the amount of feet, Steve. Yeah, you're impressive enough.
There you go, Steve. And just to let the listeners know what to look out for June, he'll be riding his unicycle across the British Channel, and following that, he's going to circumnavigate the globe on a pogo stick. So. There you go, Steve. Don't say I do you a misservice. And big up. Good luck this weekend on the run. I know you don't need it. You train hard as any of us. Probably harder than most of us. So, smash that one.
He's also off to drink for a long, long time as well, so he's got my respect over that.
On the flip side of the inaccuracy in our reporting, I did have one of the old coaches, Mike, drop into the DMs a couple of weeks ago and say
over Chip Boy,
he'd been listening and he even remembered the fella's name. I mean that must be a talent. The amount of the amount of turnover you get at gyms.
Yeah. Especially even in the small one we have, like, this massive amount of people coming over. Yeah.
And he's been training there for I've been training 4 or 5 years now, and he was a brown belt then, he's a black belt now. So the amount of people he must have seen come through the gym, and he put in brackets, I've never forgotten a name, so fair play. But so at least, if Steve wasn't happy with our reporting, at least the humour in that story came across.
His name was Darren, just to put it out there.
His name was Darren. And I'm not sure what was higher, him or his family's cholesterol. It was a quote from the message. So
very good.
Yeah, very, very good. The other thing that's been requested, Mike, is a jargon buster for non-jiu-jitsu people. So when Leo first messaged me asking for this, I actually thought he wanted a translator for you, because there's a running joke.
I was nearly going to ask, because you said jargon buster, I was nearly going to say the same thing. So what words do I have to explain? And they're probably all of it, mate. We don't understand the words you're saying. Potato, 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 potato.
It's a running joke at the gym that people only understand 50% of what Mike's saying.
I don't know if it's true or not, because sometimes I talk to people and they are looking like straight through me.
Yeah, and then someone else will say the same thing and they'll be like, "Oh yeah."
Like, fuck's sake.
Did I not just say that?
But
no, he actually, I listened to a voice clip that he'd left me a few weeks ago. I just hadn't got around to listening to it, and he was saying it's like he's picking up little bits of the jargon, obviously, that you can infer. He was like, "Mats, that's an obvious one."
Yeah.
If he doesn't know what a mat is, then
sorry. Well, bye. Podcast probably doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, the podcast makes no sense whatsoever. But I guess that would be a fundamental misunderstanding or lack of understanding the British language. So. Yeah, he understands mats, and he was like, "Gi, I think that's some sort of kit." So yeah, Leo, gi's the uniform, the kimono that you wear when you're grappling, and no-gi is the equivalent of...
People like to call it pyjamas to take the piss.
Yeah.
So if we say rolling around in pyjamas, we're not actually rolling around in pyjamas, it's just the uniform.
Yeah, well...
They say we're a bunch of weird cunts, maybe we just need to explain that.
A cult, pyjama cult. And...
Crionche, why don't you explain that? Do you know we have... Well, I don't know if that's how you say it properly.
Yeah, you did. Crionche is... that's a Brazilian phrase. I think it comes from one of the Gracies. It was coined years ago from a Brazilian soap opera. it was like a character that was really unfaithful and like cheated on their partners. I don't really know much more than this. It's just come through jiu-jitsu subculture.
So when we call Tom Lucas, when you call him Tommy Crianche, it's because he trains at multiple gyms.
So yeah, it became apparently a slur for someone that was unfaithful to, or unloyal to their gym. It's mostly nonsense in my opinion, but we'll get into that if we ever manage to sit down with Tom. And talk about cross-training and gyms.
We're booking him in. We're booking him in.
Yeah, one day, Mike. I'll leave that with you, marketing Mike.
Yeah.
But the thing that Leo said on the voice clip, he was like, yeah, in episode 6 you were talking about greasing. And I was like, what the hell is that? So Mike, have you got a...
I have a fair idea about it. So basically, no, it's usually done in no-gi, which is when we're wearing the shorts and the rash guard. And obviously when you sweat, you're a lot harder to hold. Whereas when you're training in the gi, obviously you've got grips, you can hold someone by the collar, the lapel, same thing, by their pants, not pants in the English term of pants, but pants is in when an Irish person says, so trousers we'll say. And they can't get away from you, but obviously in no-gi, I mean most people know this, but obviously if he's asking the question.
Yeah, no.
So what a lot of people do is...
He likes your voice as well, mate, so that's why I asked you to...
Oh, that's nice, yeah. I'll have to... Oh, yeah, this is ASMR. Hi, and welcome to the podcast. Anyway, enough of that. But, yeah, so what... if you watched Gilbert Burns versus Jorge Masvidal, actually, he actually accused... he accused Jorge of greasing. So basically, it's what it is you'll oil yourself up with, like, a lotion or some sort of... What would you call it? Moisturizer. You leave it soak into your system. Then you do it again and again and again. And basically the idea is when it dries into your body fully and you walk on the mat or into competition, you're dry. But then obviously as you sweat, the heat of the lights or whatever, and you start competing, it comes out of your pores and that oil or moisturizer is on it. So it's whatever way it's hard to grip you when you're sweating, it's 50 times harder because it's greasy.
So Leo, greasing is almost exactly what it sounds like. It's covering yourself in grease to make yourself harder to grip. So yeah, I tell you what, mate. There's going to be a load of these, and as Dan said in one of the chats, it's like get this boy an oil check. We'll let you Google that one, mate. But yeah, that is.
I've no problem saying all these things.
All right. So an oil check is, Michael?
It's basically when you get your thumb or maybe one of your fingers and you might go knuckle deep in your posterior, you know what I mean? But not your posterior.
It's a hell of a sport, Leo. It's a hell of a sport. You should definitely come and try it out. And if you're lucky, someone might stick a digit in your ass. It's from wrestling.
It's from wrestling.
It's from wrestling originally, where they'd use it as a control position. But the level of actual finger in anus is questionable. It's kind of like a running joke in the jiu-jitsu circles that give someone an oil check. But yeah,
never happened to me, thank God.
Never? Oh,
no.
Mate, you haven't lived. Yeah, if ever you've got any of these queries, mate, about things, like I really love the fact that there's a few non-jiu-jitsu people that are listening to
that's cool, yeah.
to the pod. But yeah, if you've ever got any questions, like you're all pretty good at engaging in the chats and in the comments, just drop them in there and we'll try and explain them to you as humorously as possible in the next episode. So yeah, in addition to the kind of amendments, Mike, that we had to make, set the record straight for Stevie and clear some things up for Leo, and give the nod of the head for the accuracy in our storytelling around Darren. We've also had a few other things come through in the chats, and I think we wanted to go through some of those today. So
who was it that asked the question on relationships?
Was it Matty Blount, another one of the SBG lads who's been listening, one of the lads who wanted longer episodes, and we are trying Matty with the longer episodes, to be honest, mate.
Last week was a bit of it's just work-life balance thing collided, and
yeah, like I say, last week was a bit of a lacklustre episode as well, I think, in terms of our energy levels. So we wanted to bounce back a bit today, and but to be honest with you, they're going to be as long as they are.
Yeah.
Like, if you're looking, the same. This goes for Steve as well. To be honest, if you're looking for broadcast quality, journalistic integrity, you maybe need to look for another podcast, because you
don't fact check us, please.
You got me and Mike here tipping up to my loft on a Thursday afternoon, trying to make something that's mildly entertaining for the two of us. And if you guys like it, then even better. But we can't comment on the quality of.
No, we just hope you do enjoy it, and the feedback is good. So as long as you keep enjoying it, we'll keep doing it. And also, if you have negative feedback or you know, you want to take the piss. We're good sports, like.
Yeah, just make sure the banter's good.
Yeah.
Make sure the banter's good. We like it either way, but yeah, engagement's engagement. So
yeah. I mean, I'd take Brendan Schaub's hate to be his famous and have his money. So hate away, but like, pay me for it, please. Okay. But sorry, yeah. So going back to
Matty was saying, as well as he wanted longer episodes, which yeah, we'll try and make. He was saying about training with relationships. I can't remember the exact wording. Actually, I don't know if I want to word it exactly because I don't want to throw.
I think it's basically like how do people juggle the relationship life with training?
You know, when you're training a lot.
I mean, because me and you do train a bit, and I think maybe that's what he's curious about.
Does your missus give you a hard time? Yeah, we're both
lucky.
Well, so my advice, Matt, is what you need to do is you need to be an annoying prick when you're at home, and then that way the missus is happy of every moment that you're out of the house and you get to train more. And if you're really lucky, she might even leave you, and then you'll have heaps of time to train.
You can even come down and see us because you'll have nothing better to do.
Exactly, mate. You're always welcome in the house.
You can come down just to blame us. You ended my relationship.
Yeah. You got any more serious advice than that, Michael? How do you balance it? Because you especially when you were first starting out, you were there every bloody day of the week.
Yeah, I'm just lucky, mate. My missus doesn't mind me going, and I suppose getting fitter, I don't know if I look any bit better or whatever, but at the start she used to tell me, you're falling away, and this kind of crack, like, you know, and I mean, my gut has never changed the same size, but that's probably the cider, you know, but I think I mean, a good thing for her as well maybe is that we all go out together as well, so like, even though we all train together, we do have a few pints together, so
it's a social club, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's like, at least she gets to know the people you're going out with, so it's not just a separate part of your life. I mean, because if it's completely separate and it's just, she's no looking into it or can't see anything from it, like she's just behind the door looking through the keyhole, barely know what you're doing,
you're just always going out, getting off at the house.
But like, she's meeting the people as well, and then she can see how good they are as well, and you know, maybe I could be wrong, but I think there's a bit of it there, you know.
We're both pretty lucky, and I ended up moving a 2-minute walk from the gym so I can squeeze in more training sessions without having to be out of the house as long. So
you can say that now you have a mortgage.
if that isn't an option for you, now more seriously, like me and Mike are quite lucky. You know, I know that there are other fellas whose missus would give them a hard time for training, and ours both kind of, maybe it says more about me and him, but they welcome us being out the gaff.
Yeah.
But no, I think, like, you know, if you don't have that social community that overlaps with jiu-jitsu, I think trying to give a more serious answer, it's about really making clear they're a priority when you guys are together. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think I'm stealing this off of another podcast, so I can't remember which, but I heard it a while ago. It's like, look, every time you're at home, I think someone was talking about how do they balance having kids and training, like, you know, as a new father, and it's a bit like, look, if at the time that you're at home you're making it really clear they're a priority, or you're going out of your way to do extra things and make them know that you're being like, you're thinking about them, and, you know, you're, as I say, prioritising them, they'll generally won't mind if you're out the house a couple of hours, 3, 4, 5 hours a week doing some jiu-jitsu, doing something that's good for you, rather than, you know,
well, you could be in the pub, like, going down
the pub, getting on the sesh, which, you know, I do have a penchant for as well. But you know, I think, like, you know, it's about making the balance, you know, and making sure that you set aside special time both times for yourself and for your partner. But
you have to just juggle it. It's like everything else, isn't it? It's like juggling it with work. Like, obviously work takes up a lot of portion of your day. Just have to set time aside for both and make sure that you're not losing in either area, isn't it?
And like, without trying to sound too much like a relationship coach, you know, on the nights that you are at home and you're not training, you're not just coming home flicking on the telly, you know, maybe like cook dinner and do the nice stuff like that.
Yeah. Turn off now, Linda.
Order an Uber Eats. Yeah,
that's more me.
Yeah, I say that as someone who doesn't cook dinner that frequently. So yeah, I'm a hypocrite, Matt. Me and Mike are very lucky. But yeah, just try and juggle the time and prioritise what's important.
Don't try and steal my woman, Matt. It's just because you want to train jiu-jitsu.
Come down to Reading after we've ruined his relationship. But yeah, keep listening, mate. And you did also comment on the wanting an episode with a female rolling partner to kind of give a woman's perspective on jiu-jitsu, which is in the pipeline. There's a couple of people we train with at the gym that I think would be.
We'll start something up. We'll have to see how they feel about it as well.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be down the line. Yeah. You know, we've got a couple of guests to come on first, but we're looking.
We'll book something and we'll have to have a chat with someone and see.
Every 4 or 5 episodes. So yeah, watch this space, mate, and keep commenting, keep liking, and doing all the good stuff, because we really appreciate it. So the next question was from Dan in the WhatsApp chat, wasn't it?
What was
one
it? You'll have to remind me. Sorry, no, I didn't do my research on the notes that you made up.
No worries, mate. One of us writes the notes for his own benefit, it seems. Now, the difference... so he was saying about... I'll actually look up the quote, because it was about performance PEDs.
Sorry, right.
In the sport. So he was like, not sure of questions for the podcast or just in general, like to know the stance on PEDs in jiu-jitsu at professional and amateur level. And then he also asked a bit about leg locks. So we'll answer the PED bit first, because
we both have different views on it.
I think me and Mike have incredibly different views on this. I'm firstly distinction. You asked about the difference between professional and amateur. At jiu-jitsu, is there really that big? Like we were talking in the changing rooms yesterday.
Last night only, yeah.
About sorry, not 15, but he's like 19-year-old purple belt pro that smokes black belts, and he's a pro. He's a purple belt. It's like pro. Does pro literally just mean you're not working a job other than training jiu-jitsu? Because I mean, a lot of these pros
might just be getting paid by a sponsor, maybe.
Yeah, and they're probably some of them. A lot of the younger pros are still living at home. Like it's not.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu's a very fast-growing sport now in terms of the UK, but there's not that many people, I think, that are non-gym owners that are making a living to live off of it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that's a fair...
So yeah, like for me, the distinction between am and pro and jiu-jitsu is really, really blurred. So I'm just going to sum it up with a quote that Nick Diaz came out with years ago. Everybody's on steroids. I don't know whether it's amateur or pro is a distinction. I'd say that there is a significant number of people, especially when you're on the competitive circuit, that are juicing. And
the only test in IBJJF, is it?
And they only test
the winner.
They only test the top of the podium. Yeah, they might test first and second place. And it's,
Craig Jones reckons when Galvao tested that, that's why he's delighted he came second, because if they tested him, he would have blown the machine up. Like, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, so there's not much testing in it. It's an relatively unregulated sport. ADCC make a big thing out of not testing. I personally can't stand juicing, especially like if somebody's going to juice and then enter like masters. Like the reason that the masters used to be called seniors, right? So for anyone, most of them are jiu-jitsu listeners, but for Leo really, if he's listening, Masters 1 is 30 to 34, Masters 2 is 35 to 39, Masters 3, you can get the picture, they go up in increments of 5. They used to be called senior brackets, but nobody likes being referred to as a senior.
Senior 3.
So they renamed them Masters, and it's like, oh yeah, I do fancy myself as a bit of a master, so I'll go into that. But like the reason that they exist is because obviously the older you get, you can't keep up with the kids. Testosterone begins to drop off in your late 40s. So yeah, I think I definitely raise an eyebrow at the guys that are taking juice and then competing in the Masters brackets. But it's one of those, I think, necessary evils in the sport that, like at the adult level, there are going to be a lot of people on the juice, and you just make the decision for yourself. I don't know if he was actually asking out of a point of interest whether he's considering to start juicing or not, but that's how I took it. I think you make the decision for yourself and see how you get on. How do you stand with it, Mark? You're
I'm all for it.
You're pro testosterone, aren't you?
I'm all for it, mate. I mean, I'm not on it currently, but like, it's not to say that I won't be. And if you're to ask me in the near future, I will tell you I'm not, because I just couldn't be dealing with people's bullshit, and it's none of their business. But it's basically a supplement in my eyes. You supplement your protein, you supplement everything else, you're increasing these levels. Why not increase your testosterone? Why not feel fantastic? Why not recover better? Why not sleep better? Get harder erections and whatever else you want to do with that. To throw a little bit of a joke in.
Is this an ad for test, man?
If you've ever taken it, you'll know, right? And people will understand this. I did it in the gym culture, and my deadlift form was like, do you ever see that photo, that meme of the dog taking a shite? That's me deadlifting. If I pulled 265 off the ground, like at 96 kilos, and I was out drinking every weekend, my friend Mandy was with me, my friend Charlie was with me, there were hella times, like, do you know what I mean? But the thing is,
wow.
I wouldn't agree with young people getting on it. I was 28, I think, when I started. And like I've done, you're supposed to, like, I'm not a doctor or anything, you should see a doctor. If you are going to go into it, you should talk to someone that does it. But not like how I did. I just found a forum full of people that were like myself and just wanted to get on gear and lift weights. you should really go about it in a proper way, because if you monitor your bloods and stuff, it can actually benefit you in the right way. But like, who wants to be going off doing all that when you can just... Anyway, sticking a needle in yourself is the worst thing ever. Stay away from tablets and all that. I have a big bald spot in my head that's from probably taking Superdrol and whatever other fucking tablets I took back then. Like, if there was a steroid, I tried to take it. You know what I mean?
This really is turning into a therapy session.
Yeah,
right?
but it's...
So-
like,
so
I actually enjoyed it. Like,
Are you sure you're pro juice? So
no, I am. Like, I'm telling you, I will, like... I don't really give a fuck. Once my mother found out I was on steroids, it's good. There's actually a story about that. And ma'am, if you're listening, just please turn off, because you're probably going to say this is all lies. But one of the side effects of well, I think, I'm not sure it's a Tren or Deca. I can't remember what I was taking at the time, because it's not the testosterone that does you. It's when you add the other compounds with it. So usually Deca will fill you full of water, good for the joints. You see all these lads that blow up and down in the gym, like they'll gain 5 kilos weight and 6 weeks later they're down. They're probably on Deca. Tren is a cutting steroid, makes your muscles big, rips the fat a bit more. That's what most people go, but it drives you fucking loopy.
I was going to say that I only know, my only knowledge of juice is from the memes, really, and I was like, all I know is that Tren sends people loopy.
Yeah, like Tren will mess with your head. Like, I have another funny story about that, but the first one, I never told anybody I took steroids at all, and people kind of believed when you say you're taking protein, you take this and that, because they didn't see it in because steroid has such a bad a bad name. Like, if you're on steroids, like, it's like taking drugs in the 90s. He's a druggie, that kind of way. Or if you smoked a joint, he's a druggie, lock him up. That's where steroids is now. And I guarantee in 20 years time, I mean, nobody gives a fuck about Arnold Schwarzenegger or any of them lads. They all think they're fucking brilliant. Hulk Hogan, all them, go along. Anyway, getting away from the point.
Yeah.
My mother found out I was taking steroids, so then I told everyone, because I don't like to tell people lies either. I like to be face value.
Yeah.
I'm not. If I'm happy with myself, I don't really feel like I need to justify myself to anyone else. But so sleep apnea is one of the side effects, which I didn't know. But I found out very quickly one night when I think I was out and I had a few scoops, a few pints as we'd say, and I was in bed at X o'clock in the morning, and my mother just wakes me up. Breathe! Why aren't you breathing? Or something to that, shaking the shit out of me.
Awake.
And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? So and she goes, you were snoring and you didn't breathe for 2 minutes. And I was like, what the fuck, you're standing over me for 2 minutes?
Yeah, she get a stopwatch out. What?
Well, you know what I mean? It's like, because when I'm on the beer and asleep on my back, I'm obviously inclined to snore.
Yeah.
And when she's in the next room, hears nothing, like, then comes in, stands over me. He's not breathing, shakes the life out of me. But funny story, but like, does happen. And it's as I say, you have to be really careful with these things. Like, I'm all for it, but you should do it don't do it like I did it. Tren is another one then as well. Tren will drive you crazy. Lost a job over Tren. Picked the fella's laptop. It involved, because I'm such a quiet kind of person, I bottle all my feelings down, and then it comes out when it comes out.
No, quiet as anyone, Mike. I think everyone that meets you, the first thing they think is that Mike. Damn, he's a quiet fella, and he really keeps himself to himself. That Mike, who never hardly says a word. It's
going to sound like pure bullshit now for people that do actually know me, but I mean in an aggressive tendency kind of way, like of how I'm never really
You're
mad.
Not confrontational.
Not confrontational at all.
No, that's fair.
So I pushed these feelings down, and they bubbled up. And I had a word, pulled the guy aside, and I had a word with him. I said, look, I'm not trying to be, because I was this jack monster walking around the place. Not really, like, but I felt like one. And I said, like, please, look, don't take it the wrong way, but I can't, the way you're speaking to me in emails and stuff like that, I can't hack it. And someday I'm just going to snap. And he hit me a good pat in the back, and he said, fuck off, will you? And we'll be grand, and we'll keep going. So we kept going anyway, and one day enough was enough. And there was a lot of money involved in the job, and I lost the plot. Picked the laptop up, smashed it off a wall. Told him if I ever seen him on the street, I'd kill him, etc., etc. Big, long 5-minute rant. Sold it with, if I ever see you punching the fucking thing and leaving. So, don't do Tren, And
I like the fact that I came from a moral point of view. Like, you shouldn't do steroids because it's not a level playing field. But really, I should have just let you speak.
Yeah.
That would have been the best. After listening to that, anyone that's considering taking juice is probably like, actually, you know what? I'm doing
the country a service here for all the people that aren't going to take it.
That's it. Keep jiu-jitsu clean.
I've also got stories like where your libido will be through the roof on Tren, and like might go into the van and masturbate. Like.
No, Leo's keen for your wanking stories. So yeah, there you go, Leo. You heard about, you didn't hear about his first or his last, but you've heard about one of his.
That was one of them.
One of them. There you go, a memorable one.
But no, as I say, look, I'll definitely, and I don't care I'll definitely be delving back into testosterone at some stage. At the moment, I don't feel I need it. But if you see my weight go up about 4 kilos, you'll know why. And ask me, I'll tell you. You got a problem with it? I don't know.
Starts winning some gold medals.
Yeah.
There we go. Right.
Well, I competed in the ADCC naturally, and I won. So I mean, I think I should go back.
The ADCC Open Bulgaria, just to be clear, guys.
Yeah. And we'll do a story on that another time.
Yeah, we'll do that on one of our travel training stories. The second part of Dan's question was about leg locks, and I think it was effectively along the lines of, without scrolling back down to the questions.
This is better for you anyway. Because
along the lines of when should you start learning leg locks? Because he feels, that, I think he was Northern Irish, and he said a lot of the gyms where around that way are a little bit behind on that game. Maybe kind of like the UK. He actually asked whether we felt the UK was the same, and I mean I think the recent show in ADCC was very clear that England has some really the highest level leg lockers in the world now. I think the leg lock,
statement.
Yeah, I think the leg lock game, although he did end up losing to I forget the fella's name, just having a mind blank for.
I'll be no help here
for obvious reasons.
But anyway, yeah. So.
Anyway, I think there's clear evidence that UK's got a good leg lock scene, but whereas when should you start learning them? I think it's a case of really as soon as possible for me. Even if you're not going to make it a big part, it's the same as any part of jiu-jitsu. It would be like saying when, I don't want to use the cliche phrase that Dean Lister said to Danaher, but why would you ignore half of the
50% of the human body?
In the sense that why would you ignore something, especially if you train a lot of no-gi, why would you ignore something that's going to become...
I think no-gi especially, I could see.
Yeah, if it's something that's eventually going to be a big part of the game, you don't want to just begin learning that. Imagine if you just ridiculously didn't learn any back control until you decided to be a purple belt. It's like what?
Yeah, why?
Why would you do that? Even if you compete and you can't use that, if you are training heel hooks and all the leg entanglement stuff, you can't use that as part of
your game isn't full without it.
In a competition, when you're a white, blue, purple, brown, depending under what rules you're competing, but still having it as part, learning it so you know what to look out for and what to defend when you do get to that level is good. I heard a ridiculous analogy somewhere. Again, I'm
full of them today.
I think I stole this off of someone, or I might have just dreamt this up myself. But it's imagine if you're learning to be a chef, right? And there's a certain spice
that you can't use,
like a chili, and they're like, no, that's too hot. You can't use that until you've
I think it'll be more like salt and pepper because it's needed that much.
You've done this because when people say heel hooks are dangerous, because you can. That's why we always try and catch and release because you don't want to blow anyone's knee up. Especially most of us are hobbyists. We've got to go to work on a Monday. Yourself, you're not going to be.
No. Heel hooks and wrist locks, two things I fucking really hate.
Despise. I'm a fan of training, but like I say, in a safe environment. But to go back to the terrible analogy, rather than discuss the real facts, I'll use analogies instead.
Yeah, it's fine.
If you were told, you can't use the chili until you're 2 years into chefing or 3 years into chefing, you're never going to know what quantities to use.
You're like, mate, I live in Mexico. What the fuck? Sorry, just after throwing you off there, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got a good giggle at me there. But yeah, it's the same. It's look, I think you need to learn them as soon as possible, to be honest, and make it part of your game. If your gym doesn't train that well, then that's different. You might be limited by your environment, but although I'm not a big fan of learning, I think you need to learn jiu-jitsu in person. If you've got some good training partners, there's loads of brilliant instructionals and free stuff from top leg lookers on YouTube that you can just get your phone out, go to an open mat, and just drill stuff. And if it,
always ask questions as well, because higher belts are, well, I don't know if it goes for every gym, but higher belts in our gym are always willing to give time and help out.
Because human beings, mate, they like to show how much they know.
Yeah.
It's like if you know, people like to show off a little bit. Yeah. So if you know someone that has a bit of a game around that, ask them. Would be my question. My answer. But definitely don't hold off. I don't think there needs to be an entry level.
Just maybe always, like Ken was saying about catch and release, just always catch and release with heel hooks. Don't ever put a heel hook on, especially if you're in one as well. Be careful how you roll. You're better off to look and tap until you become aware of what way to roll.
That's probably a good point. That's probably why maybe our gym doesn't really let you train no-gi until you're a two-stripe white belt. So it's just knowing how to move safely. But I mean, the fact you found us, even though I don't think neither me nor Mike know this fella, do we? It's just someone that came through on the socials and on the chat. So
appreciate it.
Big up, Dan. The fact you found us, organically, for want of a better saying, means you probably do jiu-jitsu, to be honest. Otherwise I'm lost as to how you got here.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned the oil check thing. So if you don't grapple and you're talking about giving Leo an oil check, and you found us organically, then mate, you're a stranger being than both of us, but you're welcome.
You're welcome here. It's a safe space.
Yeah, your presence in the chat. Your comments in the chat are much appreciated. The next questions that I wanted to go through, if we've got time.
Loads of time. Yeah.
Sweet. If you've got time, I've got time. Tim and Devon's question. I've rolled these together because for me, the answers are going to be really, really similar. But Tim effectively was talking about plateaus. Not effectively, this is what he was talking about. He was saying that obviously with weights and cardio, things that he's experienced in, if you're like, you know, struggling with improvements, it's small increments of improvements, which is pretty simple. Sorry, I'm trying to read from my notes whilst
No, it's okay.
whilst talk. So stumbling on words a bit. But yeah, he says like eat, sleep, stretch, add a little bit more weight or distance each session, and that's how you just power through plateaus by doing the right stuff again and again and again.
You can take juice. Who said that? Who came in here?
That's Mike's answer.
No, I haven't. I say I'm clean. But
so sure. If
I'll tell you.
If anyone believes that, no, you just said you wouldn't.
No, I said I would.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll have there'll be something I'll ask you at least once a month now, mate. So I know when to stop rolling with it. I don't want you to break me. But yeah, he said plateaus in jiu-jitsu. Is there any? There's so many different techniques and training partners that it's tough to know how to come through plateaus. And Devon's question was about returning from an injury. Devon specifically has a wrist injury at the moment, which is going to really affect gripping. So, my answer for the two of these is very similar. I think Devon specifically, obviously, you're going to have to avoid, gripping with that hand. Like I said, you train mostly no-gi and use underhooks where you can to not have to grip with the hand. But if it wasn't specifically a wrist injury, the overarching advice for me, for the two of you, would be, find games within the game, that are fun. Firstly, things you enjoy. Don't worry too much about winning. So really, though, that would be. I haven't really made my point very clearly, but it's the three things really would be. So like games within the game. Like I popped my rib and I couldn't do any. Couldn't really do any. I couldn't be on bottom at all. So. You'd find someone and you'd be like, look, do you want to just do open passing?
Specific sparring
exactly.
And drilling for certain techniques that will take the pressure away from that wherever you're injured,
yeah.
or even, as you say, getting better.
Start with just drilling a position, and like I say, and then once you've got on from that, find games within the game. Like obviously you're not going to be doing grip fight and stuff, but you might just be doing like SBG. We used to do a warm up where we do guard passing with no hands, so. The person playing guard would only be able to use their legs, and the person passing wouldn't be able to use any hands. That's on cool, the hands. Yeah. And like little things like that, like I say, create small micro games which allow you to drill something, but are also fun, and you feel like you're moving, and you feel like you're exploring a little bit of jiu-jitsu.
Not rushing. I think the plateau and injury, big thing. We actually texted her back straight away, like in the chat, like I said, do not roll straight away. If you're feeling iffy, do not roll. Come in for the technique, do the technique, and then. Then you could do what you're saying, go into drilling maybe or something like that. But don't go back, because I've done it, you've done it. We've both gone back too early. I used, as I say, talking about last podcast, me not tapping enough. Both my elbows have been fucked at some point. Had my foot fucked at one point, and went straight back in. Got armbar, because it's your weakest side. People, you'll find either arm on me, but people will find your weakness because you're not going to be inclined to use that side much, I feel, and then it just comes open again.
Yeah.
And then fighting, you don't want it to happen again, because mentally you're like, I'm not letting this happen again, and then next thing your arm's getting stretched out and it's already injured, you're putting that much pressure on to try and fight it, and you're tapping too late and you're just after fucking it more. I think it's something about injuries maybe, but I mean, I think
I think that's fair, and I'd say for me with plateaus, it's although you don't have to do specific sparring around an injury. I mean, find a game, drill things that things that you're struggling with, positions where you keep getting beat. Focus on those. Find someone to drill those with, and both of you, like I say, I keep saying find things that are fun, but I mean especially if you're struggling with plateaus. Like I always do this for a couple of weeks after a competition. I don't work on anything specific, and I just go to jiu-jitsu to have fun. Okay. And so to find techniques, that interest you, and just play around with them, even if you're getting beat. And don't worry about winning's a big one for both of you. Don't go to training and think, oh, I've got to beat these training partners, or I tapped this many times. The training part. I keep saying this. I've said it since episode 1. The whole point we keep doing this is it's meant to be fun. It's a challenging but fun hobby. So go there with the intention of having fun, and exploring new things within jiu-jitsu. We're not really keeping score, but a prerequisite for all of this for both of you is good training partners.
To be honest, like on plateaus, I feel like I'm on a bit of a plateau at the minute, and I always say, I've probably said it multiple times, but I think jiu-jitsu is like a roller coaster, and I think you might, like you say, I'm doing fairly well at the minute, but I'm fucking shit. But we're all living. I'm
also not got a good suitable vantage point to judge your caliber either.
But I think it's highs and lows, and I think I always say it's like a roller coaster. Sometimes you're at the bottom and you're climbing up, you're feeling great. You get to the top, you feel great, and then instantly you get dropped back down. And I think that's when you're kind of at your plateau, and then you're coming up, you're feeling great, and then you're coming down. But Roche and Ben, Joe Norton Mats, after everything, they always do the last 15 minutes. They do drills, and they're 2 good hard rolls. And my passing, at the time I started getting better at passing with you, it was when I started doing drills that time. And I haven't seen you around the gym, lads. Probably my fault now, maybe, I don't know. But please get back in so we can start picking that up, because that bit of drilling, I reckon.
I see Bennett some of the mornings.
Yeah, is it? Yeah. Because that bit of drilling actually is improving my game. And probably when you get there, you just want to, I just want to spare. But that's not going to improve my game. I know that. But it's the same thing with knowing, shouldn't take these steroids, shouldn't drink this thing, blah, 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 blah.
But that's what you're saying about the drilling. You've got 2 good training partners there that, are happy to drill safely and productively. And I think, both of you guys, be selective in your training partners. More so you, Dev, with an injury. You need to be really careful on that.
Especially with all the white belts in armour.
You don't want to just go into the open positional stuff. Be willing to say no to certain roles and at certain rounds, because I know that the white belt rounds don't often end with full rolling, but the positional stuff can still, I see how it goes sometimes, and it looks rough out there.
It's actually, I'm glad I'm at this side. Sometimes I look and I go, oh my God, I don't want to get thrown in there. It's like getting thrown to the wolves. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to have to fight my way out of this one. But we had one more question, had we, to finish off? Before we set up maybe what's ahead?
Yeah, cool. So it was from Mouse, who I actually thought his nickname was Mouse because our coach nicknamed this fella Mouse. I thought it was because he was small and kind of mousy haired, but it's actually because he looks like the character Mouse from the first Matrix film. And
that's a great callback.
It's a fantastic callback out of nowhere, and it's also a fantastic likeness. So,
and why is he carrying those glasses around? He must get it a lot. He actually had the glasses on hand today. He told us and sent us a picture into the chat.
Phenomenal
Brilliant.
Mouse.
Brilliant banter.
So he asked about insurance. So let me find the question.
He's going to America, isn't he?
A question to mull over. He's got a work conference in North America, and maybe he'll fit in a class, is what he was thinking. He goes to look up travel insurance, which covers martial arts, and I've got all contact martial arts. You can do Tai Chi on your normal insurance, I think, but contact martial arts, and it's like 150 quid for a 1 week trip, which is actually cheaper than I thought it would be. I'll tell you some stories about that in a minute. And then he thinks it'd be fine going somewhere in Europe, but he's not fond of risking the large medical bills that America's renowned for. Best country in the world apparently, but you can go bankrupt over a broken leg. What do a quarter? And he's also looked up and seen around a quarter of Americans train without relevant medical insurance. Are they mental? What do we reckon about it? Thanks for the love, Dan, as well. He gave some compliments at the end there.
Thanks, Dan. Cheers.
Appreciate you, Dan. Always a good training partner, always a fun chat as well. So one thing I'd say about insurance is
get fucked. You're giving them tons of money.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I never get insurance unless and this people may think we're foolish, and to be honest, if they've listened to anything more of the previous podcasts, they'll know we're foolish.
This one's good enough for me, I'd say.
Shouldn't be a surprise at this stage. So I never get insurance unless it's a legal requirement. Like, for example, you have to have home insurance as a requirement of the mortgage.
Adulting.
Yeah, and car insurance in the UK. But if you speak to the North Wales police, they might tell you that I don't always even get that. So,
but it's worst case scenario, something's going to happen to you. And if you're only there for a week, you'll be back in the UK, we'll get free medical help. So, I mean, it'd want to be worst case. If you feel comfortable, fair enough, if you've got the cash lying around, but what would £150 in dollars get you? Would it get you, you know, treat yourself, like you're on holiday as well?
It could be a couple of $100, so I don't know, probably get you a night out in America. So when I was in my late teens, I did the bull run in Spain, in Pamplona, where they run in the streets with the bulls. So I did that, and I think I must have been 18 or 19. It was just after I'd moved back from Prague, so I must have been 19 years old, and me and a mate from Bristol went, and we got a bus from London with a load of Aussies. It was actually on the tour, and we got this bus all the way to Spain, and then you spent a week in Spain at the festival around the bull run. Okay. And on one of the days, you have the option to run with the bulls 3 days. We only did it 1 day because we were out.
Okay, so you're all right then. Yeah.
We were out on the sesh, but I think it was my mum or maybe my auntie at the time was like, before you go, she was like, I really want you to get travel insurance. So I went to NatWest and Bank I'm with at the time and was like asking about their travel insurance. And when I said what I wanted to cover for, I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to Spain and run with the bulls. They literally laughed me out of the office. They were like, there is no insurance policy that is going to cover you for this. Yeah. And after looking into it a bit, because I did some research after that, looking at companies that do it, like even the extreme sports insurance that's specifically for that stuff, a huge percentage of the time, because of the clauses and stuff, they don't pay out. So, you know, for me, and again, I'm going to switch from something that's humorous into a kind of semi-serious answer. It's all about your personal risk tolerance, you know. Actually, Daniel Kahneman in Thinking Fast and Slow has a really good section on this, which he talks about the fourfold pattern and the possibility effect. So like low probability of large losses makes us like really risk adverse, and like the flip side of that is like playing the lottery. So you know, a low probability of a huge earning makes us. Yeah. You know, so Dan, really, I'm saying if you play the lottery, you should probably get insurance. If you don't, then you know you probably don't. But
and I'd say, have you ever won the lottery, Dan? And if you have, what are you doing?
Yeah, if you have, what are you doing? What are you doing? But yeah, I never got insurance. I had like basic travel insurance, but trust me, if something had happened in
if you're from the EU in Ireland, sorry to cut across you, but
no.
You actually. You get, because EU countries will cover EU countries. Yeah. So I know like you're out of the EU now, but like before, you just used to be able to get a card. You can apply for it. It's like European travel card or European medical card.
Yeah, the EH1C or whatever.
That's it. Yeah.
But yeah, I never got proper insurance while I was travelling in Brazil or South America. But trust me, mate, if my arm got broken in an arm bar, I'd have conveniently tripped down the stairs at the hostel later that afternoon, and that's what would have been on the forms when I went to the doctors. So there you go, Danny.
Well, take that for if something happens, just throw yourself off the side of the curb.
And if you end up getting arrested for insurance fraud, please don't point them in my direction. That was a joke.
Yeah. Everything we say is a joke.
Everything we say is a joke. On that note, Mike, what's next?
Big podcast planned. Number 10, we said we'd go off with a bang. Friend of both me and you.
Yeah, friend of the podcast, friend of our jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, training partner.
Yeah.
You know, do you want to break it?
I thought you were going to.
Well, I talk too much, and I think
Zach Smart, also the kind of owner. Is that the word? CEO, founder. The curator, whatever title you want to give him of Drillers Are Killers on Instagram. So we'll give him a tag in the comments of this one.
Hyperfly sponsored as well.
Yeah, Hyperfly brand ambassador. Really good on the old drills videos. Like he does it on his own page, and he also shares them across loads of other pages. He's built a big social media following himself. So we'll talk about kind of
Zach,
that he travels and trains a lot now. So he was out in Thailand, and he's. I think, where was he recently? He's out somewhere else recently.
Italy or somewhere, was it?
He's all over the place, He's an international man of mystery these days. I'm amazed he's not forgotten about us. And, One
of the nicest people you'll ever meet as well, by the way. I hope people that don't know him enjoy the podcast.
Oh, well, hopefully, mate, we'll give a good interview, and it will bring out the best side of him. But yeah, you want questions, and you want to leave questions, or you got anything for us to, or for Zach about social media or jiu-jitsu around the world, where can people reach us, mate?
Degen BJJ and Degen BJJ pod on all socials. Obviously, like, follow, share, subscribe. There's a QA section on the Spotify. There's also a voice note you can drop on Spotify. There's a link in my bio on Instagram. All our links are there. And the WhatsApp link is there if anyone wants to get involved in the WhatsApp chat. And obviously, dgenbjjpod@gmail.com for any Hyperfly or Magners. I'm still waiting for that sponsorship.
Any sponsorships offers. Honestly, we're really cheap. You can literally just give us a free drink and we'll shout you out. Honestly, we do it for free. People don't even give us stuff when we shout them out. So, appreciate you all tuning in. Much love, guys.
Cheers, guys.
And as always, play it to your nan.